In today's video, we're talking about rotation or pivot, and we're going to give you a really simple drill that's going to help you better understand how to rotate and pivot for better struck iron shots. So you've joined me on the range here at PJ Catalunya in Spain. I've just been here hosting a golf school. Fantastic facility. If you are ever in the Barcelona area, it is well worth coming and checking out these two fantastic golf courses. But we're talking about pivot and rotation in this particular video, and you're going to learn about a concept which is maybe a little different to how you've thought about the rotation before. You're also going to learn how a centered rotation is going to help you with your iron clubs, especially off the ground. So before we get started, if you're new here, you're not a subscriber, there are free videos going up each and every week, and it is absolutely free to subscribe. There is a link in the description box below, or at the end of the video, there's a clickable link as well, which will allow you to do the same thing. So let's get into this. Let's get into the rotation element of this, and we can go through the exercise that's going to help you. So if we quickly talk about what rotation is or what the pivot is, and then we can go through potentially what we see as maybe some of the faults that are quite common, and then obviously give you the fix for that. So the rotation is effectively how we turn our body from the setup to the backswing, or in this particular video, we're very much focusing on the backswing. We would like, in a rough idea, the shoulders to rotate through around 90 degrees and the hips to rotate by around half of that, so 40, 45 degrees. It will depend a little bit on your personal flexibility, and it will also depend a little bit on the golf club that you've got. But what we tend to see quite commonly is as the golfer rotates into their backswing, they make a lateral movement off the golf ball, so they shift too much to their trail side. Now, that can really compromise well, contact and then ball flight. So we tend to see those golfers having the lowest part of their swing behind the golf ball. That tends to lend itself to heavy shots, thin shots. And if they do get the club and the ball in a pretty solid fashion, the ball tends to go very high and they don't really get huge amounts of distance. What you'll notice from many of the best players that you'll see on TV and maybe you've played with is they all tend to get the weight on the lead side, and they tend to hit the ground after the ball, and that tends to give them more compression, better ball flight, more distance. And this can often be linked back to rotation. So here's the little drill, little concept I want you to work with. We're going to get rid of the golf club for the moment, and we're going to get you to take your posture and just to make two fists with your hands with about 4 to 5 inches gap between them. Now I want you to think of your pivot and your rotation as towards the ball and away from the ball, as opposed to what we often do is think about rotation as away from the target and towards the target. So I want you to have this little concept or idea. Imagine that in my right hand I've got a cord. And we've often likened this to if you were trying to pull start a petrol mower. So you'd have to pull that cord to get the mower going. You're going to imagine that in that right hand you've got a cord. The cord is attached down somewhere just behind that golf ball, and I've got to give that cord a pull. Now how I would do that is I would do this. I would pull that cord this fashion. Now what I'm actually doing there is I'm actually rotating and pivoting, but I'm doing it in a very centered fashion, because the concept of pulling that cord wouldn't really make it a lot of sense then to move this way off the golf ball, because I'm really trying to pull this in this direction. So like we said a moment ago, we're thinking about towards and away from the ball. My left side, that's my shoulder, my hip and my knee, they are working down in towards the golf ball. But my right side, my right knee, my right hip, my trail shoulder, they're moving away from the golf ball. And this is a great concept to keep you more centered, because all too often we hear I'm turning away from the target and towards the target, and that can really create this lateral movement. But this little concept of right side away from the ball, left side towards the ball, gives us that pivot, that rotation, but keeps us very, very centered. If I was to create that movement and then place my arms in a structured position, that should look like a pretty centered backswing. From here, much easier then to get that weight or that pressure going left early, which is what we tend to see from the better golfers. And then as I rotate through, I'm able to get the golf club to land target side of the ball, giving me that ball turf contact. So a couple of little rehearsals without a golf club, getting that kind of fixed in your head, the rotation and the pivot. And then we can start to add the golf club, potentially make a little rehearsal first, where right side's away, left side's towards, and then we can take that through to a golf swing. And you should start to see, ball turf contacts, and that should start to happen a little bit more consistently, because we're not having any of this lateral shift which will change the lowest part of the golf swing. Very often the golfers who struggle with strike, it's not that they can't strike the ball well, it's just that they're unable to do it you know, shot after shot after shot consistently. And that's often because they have this lateral movement which is shifting the low point, and so the contact becomes variable. This little exercise, this concept, can really elevate your ball striking and help you hit the ground in the same place every time, which is absolutely vital to playing good golf, especially when we're talking about irons from the fairway. So I hope that helps. It's certainly going to help your ball striking. We'd love to hear your comments. There is a comments box down below. There's a like button. And also share this video if you feel like this information would help someone who struggles a little bit with contact. As I said right at the start, massive thanks to PJ Catalonia. This resort is unbelievable. Such an inviting range. I might hit a few balls after this video, but I really hope you enjoyed that. Hope to see you back here again soon, and we can help you play some better golf.